Welcome everyone to our Staff Access and Mobility Hackathon. This is our second Staff Access Hackathon with a focus this time on workforce mobility. There have been a lot of busy people in the room and outside of the room and hacking away over the last 2 days. And a lot of effort has gone in over the last few weeks and months getting ready for this hackathon. So first of all, I'd like to thank everyone for their efforts, for their enthusiasm, and especially the team from Sitekit and the team from Blackpool Teaching Hospitals, who have been absolutely amazing in supporting and making this event happen and run so smoothly. So thank you. I'll hand you over now to Philip Graham from Blackpool Teaching Hospitals, who'll be saying a few words about why this is important, why this is timely, and the future. I'm sure the future will come in here somewhere. So Phil, over to you.
Thanks, Helen, and thank you everybody for attending. Thanks to the hackers and thanks to the people who are just coming to the presentations. I hope you all see something of real interest, and I'm looking forward to this because we've been working on the people side of life for a good few years now. Those of you that were with us at the initial staff hack will have seen things like passports being developed, and those have come to fruition now. And just for Ian's benefit, we've won a couple of awards on that one, so it's really important, some of this work. And I think if Helena Palin was here, it's really important to think about the user in all of this, because we're implementing lots of systems and we're actually making some of this worse for our users because they have lots of different access to lots of different systems. So it's really important that we think about the user and not the product. And just from an INTEROPen point of view, again, it's great that we've got this open community where people can come and hack and work together, because I think, in terms of the standards and interoperability, it's all about working together. So that's brilliant to see, and thank you, and keep looking out for future hacks and keep being involved. I won't take too much time because I know we want to crack on with the presentations, because there are a lot, but as I've just mentioned, I would ask people to get a piece of paper and just start jotting things down, because after 13 or 14 of these presentations, you will forget who you wanted to vote for. So please do, and I'll probably just finish there and just say, like I said, thank you to everyone.
Just one word on the voting. For those of you who have just joined, we will be voting for the top. We'll be inviting you to vote for your favourite 3 hack projects. Please do choose 3. Don't just stick to one. So make a note of the 3, the names of the 3. I am going to replicate the running order. So if you want to put the numbers, that might help if you can't remember the full names. And the voting will open on Slido once all the presentations have been presented. So keep a note of the numbers, and hopefully that will, and get the app either on your phone or your web browser ready to vote at the end. I'll pop the links in the chat. Okay. So Ian, are you ready to say a few words from your side of things?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Helen. So if anyone doesn't know me, I'm Ian Town. I'm the Chief Architect for NHS England's Transformation Directorate. So sitting joint architecture, strategy, standards and interop teams sit underneath the CTO. Dave Turner, who's the Chief Technology Officer, will be joining us very shortly, and kind of feel a Chair's Award at the end. So I will keep this short, as I know we've got a lot of presentations to get through. I think this is probably the most that we've ever had. So first, I just echo Helen's thoughts, thanking everyone for attending. I know it's a fairly big commitment, not just for 2 full days kind of out of the office participating in this, but for all the prep, if you've attended the learnathons as well. There's a lot of effort that's gone into it. And also to thank Helen and the INTEROPen team for a lot of work that goes into planning these events as well. So we've had quite a few of these hacks now across different topic areas. So it's really good to see that there's still a lot of interest and momentum in them. I know when we made the switch from in-person to virtual through the pandemic, it didn't drop down at all. It was the same, if not better numbers, kind of attending. So for this one, you'll be asked teams to participate across 3 areas: trusted data, provisioning, systems access. So we've got 16 teams that came together, and that's a total of 132 people that registered for the event, and 15 that kind of stepped in at the last minute. It's all right when it's a virtual one. I know when we had the one in Leeds, I think something like 25 people turned up at the last minute, which took us way over capacity for the building, but we just had to sneak them in. Looking at the teams, I'm thinking that next time we might have to introduce an award for the best team name, and I'm assuming that the NHS male team will be in fancy dress next time as orange Smurfs. So when thinking about kind of the hacks going forward, so I think we're keen to take the direction of the hacks and the wider work that certainly our team is doing, to focus on areas that represent challenges to local organisations. So we had a visit to Blackpool Teaching Hospital recently, where heard strongly about identity and the provisioning systems, which has been replicated across other trusts as well. But Philip mentioned Helena, who's a chief nurse, who talked to us about the impacts that some of this has on her and her team providing care, particularly where you have bank staff coming in who can't access systems, and the time that it takes away from patient care. So some of these solutions today support that both in terms of time, but then also as an add-on into patient care. I think we're keen as well. I think I mentioned last time that seeing the work that happens in the hacks moving forward. So some of those popping up into proof of concepts, live testing, and deployment out across ICSs. I think we've got a program that's running with Blackpool at the moment around rolling that out in Blackpool. So actually, some of the content from here will definitely feed into that. We'll look at how we roll out across some sites, and then hopefully roll that out as a blueprint to a much wider group of people. We're keen that these are kind of deployable components, so it's easy to kind of put them out there. There's not long implementation periods and things like that. I think the key thing that I mentioned looking at Blackpool is that we're bringing the local and central teams together to provide truly national solutions. So we're basing it in direct user need. Now Phil beat me to mention this, no surprise to mention it, but I was going to say some of the things from the previous hacks have won not one but 2 awards, that Phil is definitely dining out on those for a lot of years, and they're probably on his mantelpiece in pride of place. Right? In fact, I'm sure I'm surprised they're not in the background there. Actually, they must be sure.
They're shared with the team. It's a team effort here. They're all shared.
Yeah. So I think today, Helen mentioned, I think it's great that everyone's taking part in all of these things. We're going to be voting for everyone's kind of overall favourite 3, and looking at those, and then there'll be a chair's choice as well that Dave and I will kind of have a look on. We're keen that both of those we do something with, so they'll be kind of invited to some of the NHS England and the CTO team kind of show and tell, so it's a bit of an opportunity to kind of showcase that piece, and hopefully we'll get some people like Sam Bolton and Tim Ferris along to see some of those that are happening locally as well. All the presentations are recorded today as well, so I know if you want to kind of rewatch, or you've got colleagues who can't join, they can at least see the kind of output as well. And then finally, I just say, as ever, feedback is definitely welcome on this, both in terms, I think, of the learnathons and the hackathons. So what's worked well, what's not worked well, what would you like to see, and I think as well as topics. So people are coming from working with local organisations. What should the next hackathon or the hackathon after that or the hackathon after that I'll focus on. So I'll hand back to you, Helen, then.
Thanks, Ian. I was just going to say there is actually a question on that on Slido, so I'll open a couple of extra questions once we've done the voting. So there is a question about what you'd like to hack next in there as well. Thank you, Ian. That's wonderful. So we have 12 teams now, and because some teams have merged, each team, as we've explained and apologized, we're going to have to keep you to a very, very strict time limit of 6 minutes for individual teams and 9 minutes for the merged teams. We will do a bit of a we'll basically just stop you sharing, I'm afraid, when the time's up, just to make sure that everyone has the opportunity, which Ian may remember actually at our very first in-person hack, we did something similar for 3 minutes for the 4 teams, and Amira and I were sort of running on and saying, come on, grabbing people off the stage. So sorry for being so strict. I know it's been difficult for you to pack everything in, and I have said to everyone that we will be sharing all the slides afterwards. So don't worry if you don't cover all the little details, and just get across your message and what you've managed to achieve as smoothly as you can. Don't worry too much. We'll give you as much of an opportunity as possible. And as Phil said, if you want to do a longer demo or something slightly longer and a bit more polished, etc., that you'd like us to share with the community, please go ahead and prepare something. We would be very happy to share. Okay, so we have chosen to use Slido, the Slido app, for voting. As I said before, we would like everyone to vote for 3 hack projects, and the voting will open once all the presentations have been made. Is Dave Turner here, Ian? Or I've seen a David. I'm not sure if that's Dave Turner.
I am here.
Wonderful. Hello.
Hello. I am here, just hiding away. Yep. Hi.
Wanted to make sure you're here and watching, because
I am indeed
coming back to you and Ian for Chair's Choice. So that's
no problem. Thanks, Helen.
great
No problem.
to have you here. Thank you. Okay, so without further ado, I think we should head to the first hack, just to give us a little bit more of a cushion. So the first team is Team Xmas /BDS, which is Nexus System Access. Who is presenting? Hamid, are you ready to share your screen? Oh, Rob.
I think we're starting. Rob's starting, isn't he? There we go.
Okay, take it away when you're ready.
Good afternoon, everyone. We've been looking at the use case around Serena, the locum ED consultant, starting a shift for the first day at Blackpool Teaching Hospitals. Next slide.
Whoops. Do you want me to give the screen back to you, Dean?
See if I could take the screen. Is that shared at the moment?
Not right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've as a solution, we were looking to get information from the Credential Gateway as one of many data sources that we can support from what we roll up into what we call the digital directory. So we can take information from just about any location. The Credential Gateway is an obvious source for us as a trusted authority. So we've looked at what that would look like in terms of bringing down the information from the Credential Gateway, adding it into our digital directory, and following that provisioning process through. So you can see here, it's that user has been populated. Serena's come through. It's showing up as a new user. We approve the request to add Serena into the digital directory. This could be automatic if we wanted to, based on rules. What's happening now is that that user is being evaluated for their dependencies as part of the PBAC model. So they've not been created as yet, because on the credentials, we've assumed that there's not there to start with. Once they get added, they'll get refreshed back in. Seem to have skipped over a little section of the presentation. I apologise. Once the credentials have been added, they get added into Directory Manager and the Active Directory, as you just saw there. It's populated the groups. It'll go ahead and populate the NHS net address, create them a user, and populate the required groups that they've got the dependencies checked for. You'll see shortly when we look at the digital directory entry now, you can see there that we've got the Credential Gateway, the Active Directory, and NHS Mail all linked together in that scenario. The next step from here would be to fire these credentials off, fire the credentials back into the wallet to enable Nexus to be able to start their process. The screenshot there that shows it's provisioned into NHS Mail. Super high speed, but Nexus, do you want to pick up and do the next part of the presentation from there?
Yeah, so I'll get my side done, just share the screen. So there we go. Can you see the app on the phone? I hope you can. Right,
Yes.
so we click on, so Serena's come in, she's got to the hospital first time. She opens up the Authenticator app. So what we've got is the Authenticator app here. Let me just put that in. You can see the credential here, which is system access. What we've got is her email address. She's got a bunch of roles which we've mapped onto the NPR side. So not only are we doing authentication, but we're also doing authorization. She's going to have access to Clinical Hub, the Ward Tracker, and our shared CAD records. So I'll press for our ICS. You can also see the system there. So what we do is we press this button here, which is the digital identity button, and that will generate a QR code. We will just come back here, press the scan button here, scan that. It's pretty quick. Let's just hit that, proceed anyway. Share what we need to, and that's the app side done. What we'll do is do a redirect on the application. I did this before. Let me just hit that again. Do it twice. Share that one more time. Just watching it redirect. There we go. So it's doing a redirect. It's got the code flow in here. We've now logged the user in. So what you'll see is on the top right, we can see that Serena signed in. So there's no lookup on PBAC. This is straight through the claims that we've got. She's going and working on Astorward today. So she'll come over to Astorward. She's looking after this patient here. I'll just show you one or two things off from this patient. There we go. Okay, so she can do whatever she wants to do on that patient. So lots of information here. We can launch any of our other systems, so document management tools, EDMS things, whatever we need to. So we've got documents in here. We'll close that quickly. We've got full auditing capabilities, so shows what she's been looking at. More importantly, we've got access to the shared CAD record system. So if I hit I'll press here, it opens in a new window, but I'll do one prepared earlier because it takes a minute to load. We've got access to the GP record if provided MIG, and we've got access to our documents as well as neighboring trust documents as well. So that's showing the full signing into using the wallet and doing your job. I'll hand over to Rob now.
Thanks, Hamid. I'm just going to share my screen out and finish off the presentation. Just bear with me a moment while I just try to get the slides back up. So just to recap, then, sorry, bear with me while it just loads up. Slightly awkward moment. I could talk about while it's loading. So what you saw there, let's just recap. We were viewing a story there about Serena, who's an ED consultant, a locum ED consultant. And the story is that she's joining the organization on this day. And so what we saw in the first part of the demo was her organization going through a rapid provisioning process. It's rapid because it's quicker to do than it has been before. The reason behind this is that through the technology that you've seen, it's possible for Serena to onboard without having to do in-person ID checks, which are impractical in this particular case. And other practicalities, like, for example, she doesn't have to go in person to collect a smart card to